Hey everyone, this is Erica from Southeast Steuben County Library in Corning, New York, and today I'm going to show you how to make some chunky knit planters. We'll be using some simple ingredients from your kitchen, as you can see, and upcycling some tin cans to give your little seedlings a new home and add some cool texture to your decor. So to get started, you'll want to have a very sturdy surface that is at a comfortable working height for either standing or sitting, and you will want to protect your surface. Here I have some brown paper, craft paper. I also have, and would highly suggest, some sort of glass or a non-porous surface with no texture. This is really great for making the coils of the clay that we will see in just a few moments. You'll also need, the star of the show is a polymer clay. So I have the remnants, after making some samples, of a box of Sculpey clay. And I got this at my local store for about $6. And this is the remnants from just one tin can, one large tomato soup can or tomato sauce can from Wegmans, our local grocery store. Shout out to our favorite stores and our, our frontliners who are taking care of business and keeping us safe and well stocked as we work through our COVID-19 pandemic. We would be at the library today for Maker Monday, but we're all home. Everything's still shut down in upstate New York, and I just wanted to continue on with our regular scheduled program. But at my homestead, I've been dealing with some Wi-Fi woes, so we had to reschedule our Maker Monday to a Tuesday edition. So I'm glad you can join us today, or me, and I want to get started. So, further along, let's continue. So, aside from the clay, if you don't have this, I like to be considerate that we are staying home, staying safe. Not everyone has money as well. Lots of us have lost our jobs, and we're still trying to be creative and inventive. I really like the texture of this. I have come up with discovered a natural polymer clay substitute which uses some natural ingredients around the house. The recipe that I used calls for 2 cups of cornstarch, 2 cups of baking soda, and 1.25 cups of cold water. Now you put these all into a pot, into a saucepan, mix them up, and over a medium to low heat until they become the consistency of like a mashed potatoes, like a paste, like a real thick. It all combines, and it's a workout. Gives your arms a good strengthening. Make sure you get your Wheaties. And once you've gotten all that stuff mixed up, you want to cool it off. And once it's then malleable and something you can handle, you have something that kind of looks like this. What you can do to get a little smoother texture is to add some of the oil. If you happen to have some vegetable glycerin, you could use this as well. But I didn't see a difference using either one, and I know not everyone has this around. This oil is pretty inexpensive and ubiquitous in most homes. I've already mixed my oil in here, and I just want to show you that it has a really nice texture. Just for some tactile fun, you can make this clay and just goof around, and you don't even have to create anything. This is a fun homeschool project. Something fun, something fun the kids can do. All safe. So what you need to do is take your tin can. Let's start off with polymer clay first. This to the side. That's a much more pleasing process, in my opinion, because I made it. You can also use gloves, and so let's get those on. My hands are dirty, the inside of these gloves are dirty, but it's no big deal. They're just dirty from these natural substances, and I'll rinse them out and keep using them until there's a hole. I've been using them all day. They're great. Okay, making a coil. Squeeze that clay. This is the Sculpey Polymer Clay, right? Making your coil. This is where I tend to need to stand to get a little more height. Now you want to, you haven't even seen the end result to know exactly what we're doing unless you've looked it up on our web page, or if you've seen this on Pinterest or online on another YouTube channel. I've definitely borrowed this idea, and I thank the individuals who put the ideas out first and give me the inspiration. Okay, so you can braid, so knitting looks like braids, right? And you can braid 3 individual strands of the clay, but that's kind of the hard way. Not necessary. You just need to have the length of your can. And so what I make are 2 coils, and I have a very tricky cheater method of making those coils just like that. Okay, so there's one. You can get real mathematical on covering this can, so you're going to have X amount of strands to cover the circumference of your can, right? So this could be a great math problem for your kiddos too, or yourself. And if you want to get real precise, you can figure out, okay, so that was just this many chunks. Maybe I need that size chunk. Something like that to make my future coils. So you kind of get a little system created. Let's see if while I was talking my system was correct. No. That's okay. I at least showed you the way, my little ones. Okay, so you have some tools on the side. I have some wonderful clay tools. You can use you can just rip the stuff apart, but if you wanted a nicer edge, you can use what do you call those things? Working and talking. It's like walking and talking. A butter knife. Okay, so the 2 coils, when put together, kind of have like a little braid look. Not sure if you can see that. Oh. The essence of a braid, the essence of a knit, right? I like to work in little chunks to make me feel like I'm getting the process done quicker. So as you see, I just rolled my 2 twisted coils, lifted them up and put them on top of this, the outside of the can. Kind of pressing, kind of sticks. It's what I like about, one of the things I like about the Sculpey. Okay, so it's on. And then just press, press. You've sealed it on. Press, press. And there it is. There's a little process. And you do that going all the way around, including a lip and a bottom, until, ta-da, you have that. Pretty fun. This takes a few hours, maybe less once you get a good system going. You have a few less distractions, but it definitely has a cool knitted look to it. Some mistakes you want to avoid, or maybe you don't want to avoid, my supervisor's on her way in, are resting it on its side as you're putting your next layers of, next rounds of coils on. So try to hold it in your hand or put it onto a surface, like a towel or a cloth, so it doesn't roll away. So once you've covered the full circumference, you make a coil to go around the bottom and the top. Smush everything on. Put it in the oven that is preheated at 275 for 15 minutes per 1/4 inch thickness of surface. So this was all about a 1/4 inch thick. Toss it in the oven for 15 minutes, and this is your finished product. So the can stays there. You can cut some holes into the bottom if you prefer. I think I'll just put some stones at the bottom and some prepared soil for succulents and give you a feature presentation of this tomorrow on the blog, or your today, however it goes. Blog releases usually on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock, which is just about now. So you can head on over to www.creationstationery.com and read all about it and see what this looks like in my future with a lovely planty. Okay, so this plus that is all I have from one box. $6, $8. I went to the store wearing a mask, all these things. I'm content with the first one, but it makes me feel defeated when I don't have enough supply to make more than one. And to give you instructions for supplies you might not have at home. So let's move on to what I kind of feel more victorious with, is that homemade natural polymer clay substitute. Boom. You can see here I have some colors that are prepared, or not prepared, food coloring, and I have some prepared mixed colored dough or clay as well. So here's your plain right out of the pot mixed with your oils. I mixed blue and red together to get my favorite purple, and some red and yellow to get orange. We'll see what those look like. I'm going to show you. This rolls a little differently than the polymer does, because that polymer has polymers in it to get stretched nicer. It's a little more seductive to want to just buy versus make, but let's be inventive, creative, as we are stationary. Making a coil. If you saw, I turned a little chunk into a ball and then forced that ball into a cylinder. You can tap the edges, and then I take my two hands and very, very gently, this is a little bit of pressure, not at all, not much at all. I roll out a coil. There it is. What's up? So the thinner the coil you make, the more coils you need around to cover the circumference of your can or your vessel. So a thicker chunk can make life a little more pleasing. So see how simple just to twist those up? I don't have as much, I don't want to handle this clay as much as I can with the polymer. Oh, it's a little wet, so I had to reconstitute this, and that's another thing I think is really nice about this clay. So let's mention, so the benefit of Sculpey is it stays soft until you bake it, but it does have its limitations and cost. That might be another prohibitor for most people. Oops. Okay, well, let's show you that again. So, as I was saying, I made this clay at 9 or 10. You know, working through the day, can't be at this table all day as I prefer to. Get some distractions, get some other work done. I come back to it, it's a little dry, so I added a little extra water, but perhaps a little too much. So what I had done was separated it out, broke it up, and that's what these little wet spots are. Just to have the great thing about that paper is it can work to protect your surface, but also take away, absorb some of that excess water if you make a mistake. Once you've done the heated process in on the stove to kind of make your paste, you can add little bits of water or oil to keep things smooth and malleable. Okay, hopefully I stayed on track enough there. Chewing gum and walking. There we go. So, 2 coils. Kind of looks like you're making cheese. Like, good fresh. Oops, woohoo, mozzarella. Okay, so that's definitely longer than I need for the can. And let me show you. Whoop. Oh, look at that. So this is what I was working on earlier. Got distracted, had to have some dinner. This is where I left off. Okay. Smush, smush, smush. The final pieces, finishing touches you didn't get to see with the polymer sample over there. Oh, it's heavy too. You know, be prepared to get some weight during this project. All good, right? We need to keep our hearts strong, muscles supple. Okay, so there I've covered all the surface, and Let's see if I can make a coil to fit around the top and bottom with my leftover white. Now, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get such a length of coil. Let's go there. Tap in. It's all very forgiving. If it starts to break apart, especially at the ends, it has a little tendency to do that. Just smush it back in. Tell it who's boss. Be a little gentle. And then you continue that process of stretching. It's just this very light movement. You're doing this like rolling and pushing. Very gentle. You have a lot quicker processing with the polymer clay. But once you get into a groove with this clay, it just seems more rewarding to me. My problem is I'm running out of space on my table, but that might be just enough. My little glass table. Plenty of room on the big table. Okay, so I feel like I'm picking up a glass lip at the hot bench. So much feels like refers to glass in my household. Oops. Okay, don't get distracted there. Mistakes are just happy little accidents. I'll show you ways to fix them. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. Oh yeah, we can even knock that off. It's like never happened. This stuff sticks to itself pretty well, and also has a nice tackiness after several hours of being in this dryer studio. So there's our lip, and just a little gentle smushing. The gloves protect your hands from becoming too dry, protect them from colorant when you mix the colors, which I'll show you in just a moment. But it also, I'm going to take a seat so I can get a better view. They protect the clay from your fingerprints. So if you want your fingerprints in this final project, you might want to use them versus a tool to finish off your surfaces. So very gently, you can, I'm not sure if you can see, you can take this little tool, if you have something like this, and just smush, very careful. Kind of gets it back in there. If you don't have a wooden tool like that, probably have a spoon at home. Since this is all natural, it'll clean up and not hurt you. If you're lucky enough to have some kitties and puppies in the house, you might have some hairs trapped in here. I just love that kind of stuff. You can swipe off any little crumbs. You want to make sure you finish your surface to what you want it to be before this goes in the oven and bakes permanently, and then you can't make the changes. Okay, so there is our natural polymer clay substitute. I still have to make a ring around the bottom, but I'll do that once we're off screen. I wanted to show you how to mix some color. Ooh, So here's how I was saying it can get dry. There's like a borderline. If you have a credit card, not one of these little metal tools, that the credit card will do just fine for this process. That glass really helps. Can't think of what offhand you might have around the house, but perhaps like a 13 by 9 cake pan, cooking sheet might work as a surface like this if you don't have 8 billion of these in your garage like I do. Okay, so an easy way, here I'll show you also that you can add just a little bit of the oil to get a little more supple quality. Poke a few holes. Got a couple drops of that oil. Smush, smush, smush. Need it in there. Okay, so now I'll have a smoother clay to finish this project. Add some color. Let's see. What should we do? Like a blue-green. I'm going to show you that you can achieve like a tie-dye look too, which is fun. And maybe you want to keep it versus having that solid color like that. Okay. So a couple drops of the blue, one of the green, a little more of the yellow. Let's see what we can get. This will probably be more vibrant color than those little guys were. So something simple. Teaser. Teaser coming soon to my Instagram. Let it all be in the past. Because I'm recording Monday night, April 27th. This video isn't getting released until Tuesday afternoon, April 28th. Time's weird, so what's it matter? Tie-dye. Pretty fun? Should we keep it like that? Yeah. No. Okay, so I've shown you how to coil, how to mix the dough, achieve. Now if you just mix this more, I'll show you on the side. Surpass tie-dye to an actual color. Kind of found this to be the preferred method, fastest method for mixing the color. These ingredients don't mix quite, or don't knead quite the same way as a bread dough. So this smushing process seems to just be the type of knead it needs. Some reflection. There's our more solid color. Still needs more, right? It's not tie-dye. Now I don't know, because I haven't tested this, what that will look like as I roll it, but we'll all find out when we read the blog all about it tomorrow. So you can see, oh, I don't want to let you go too quickly. because aside from the cans that we've upcycled, I thought, well, wouldn't it be neat to have some way to see, you know, a little transparency, have just the clay be the vessel, not have a vessel inside. I saw some ways that you can use any heat safe vessel to wrap your clay around, but they all and one of them was using a glass ball jar, but they kept the jar in there, and my ball jars are very precious on my homestead. I use them for so much more. I don't really want to use this purchased item for a planter. I'm trying to upcycle here. So you'll see in the blog, I've wrapped this in brown paper. This is a quart. Oh, forgive me for not knowing my size. 16-ounce glass ball jar, straight wall. I've covered it in paper and then cut so that it doesn't, none of that embossing of the ball jar comes all onto the clay. But then I wrap that in tin foil to be even more heat safe, and now I'm not so sure that the paper was necessary, but we'll find out. So what I'll do is create, let's see, my makeshift rolling pin. So for this, because the tin can obviously stays in, gives you a bottom, this way I'm making the entire vessel. I'm wrapping this whole thing. So I'll need to create a base. So we'll make it the tie-dye base. If you see my handle, my paintbrush handle is my rolling pin here. Just trying to show you that you can be creative with just about anything on hand. Okay, get that to the circumference diameter of your vessel, right? Okie dokie, and then you need a straight edge. I really wish I had a butter knife out here. That'll work better. This will all smush. This is fine. So I'm just running along the edge, outer surface of the base of this covered ball jar, pulling away the excess, and ta-da, there's my base. Okay, so now I'm a little concerned because it feels like it's going to stick there, and it did. Okay, well, flop the flop and retry. Okay, so there it is. I will work this and get the coils wrapped around the same way as I did before. I'll show you, just roll those coils up. One last demo before we hit the road. The braided fake out. Fake knitting. If you're a knitter, bravo to you. I've never seem to catch on. I can crochet and watch TV. It's almost like walking and chewing gum at the same time. What? But I can't really knit. Maybe I haven't practiced long enough. Maybe I haven't had the right teacher. Let me know if you knit and you want to teach me. Okay, so the method one more time. 2 coils. Twist them. Boopity boop. Twist them a little more. Ooh, the color is so fun. You can see this last round was a little more malleable, stretched faster. If you have a twist that doesn't quite twist right, just keep twisting. Ta-da! Right? Alright. While you're on your side, the tin foil gives a little, what do you call it? Roll stop. Might be able to get 2 coils here. What? Oh, that was too excited. Okay. So then I'll continue this process. I will probably intermingle or come up with some pattern for my design going all the way around. But this process will continue just as this one did, and this one, until I bake it. This clay, this natural polymer clay substitute that we made, will bake in the oven at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes. Now, I don't have a dried sample because I didn't have enough cornstarch to do this process until yesterday. And those Wi-Fi woes, oh my. So, you'll see the sample in the blog. Once again, creationstationery.com, where we have other creative fun, and you can link to the library page as well. www.SSC Library for Southeast Steuben County Library. That's ssclibrary.org. So much fun having you in my studio. If you have any comments, thoughts, questions, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks everyone. Take care. Peace out.